I woke up before the sun today. That happens more often now. My body doesn't believe in sleeping late anymore. I sat at the small table by the window with a cup of tea I've reheated twice already, watching the sky. At some point, without warning, it occurred to me again, I am 80 years old.
That sentence still surprises me when I say it out loud. Not because I feel young, I don't, but because for most of my life, 80 was a distant idea, a number that belonged to other people. Old men on park benches, old women with soft voices and careful steps. I never imagined I'd be sitting here, inside that number, looking back instead of forward. The house is quiet now. Not the peaceful kind of quiet people talk about on greeting cards. This is a heavier quiet, a quiet filled with names that used to answer when I called, chairs that used to be occupied, rooms that once held arguments, laughter, slammed doors, and apologies that came too late. When you reach this age, silence becomes a companion, not always a kind one, but a familiar one. Over 80 years, I've watched the world reinvent itself again and again. New machines, new words, new worries. But what stays the same is the leaving. Parents go first, usually, then siblings. Friends drift away or disappear for good. And sometimes, if life decides to be especially cruel, the person you plan to grow old with leaves you alone in the plan. People younger than me sometimes ask what it's like to be this old. Others don't ask. They just look. There's pity in their eyes, even when they try to hide it. As if reaching the end of the road is automatically a tragedy. As if being the last one standing must mean you've lost. But there is a truth about being 80 that no one tells you when you're young. Not because they're hiding it, but because you wouldn't hear it anyway. You can only understand it when time has taken almost everything else away. If you're younger than me, listen without arguing in your head. If you're close to my age, sit with me for a moment. I don't have advice. I don't have answers that will fix your life. I only have what remains after 8 decades of trying, failing, loving, and letting go. The first hard truth is this: we never really own anything. Not the things we build, not the people we love, not even the version of ourselves we work so hard to become. In my 40s and 50s, I was convinced my life was made of solid things, a career I spent years shaping, a reputation I protected carefully, a home filled with objects I thought told the story of who I was. I believed those things were proof that my life mattered. I guarded them like they were permanent. But here I am now, looking at hands that are mostly empty. And I've learned that empty hands aren't a failure. They're just honest. Every house I once called mine belongs to someone else now. My professional accomplishments live in filing cabinets that have probably already been thrown away. People who never met me occupy the space I worked so hard to earn. And somehow, the world didn't collapse when my name faded from memory. What remains isn't what I owned. It's who I was while I was trying to own it. I learned too late that people are not possessions. We like to say, my wife, my children, my family, as if love comes with ownership papers. But the truth is, we are only borrowing each other for a season, sometimes a long one, sometimes heartbreakingly short. When I stopped thinking of love as something I could keep and started thinking of it as something I was allowed to experience, the pain of loss changed shape. It didn't disappear, but it softened. Loss stopped feeling like theft and started feeling like the cost of having been lucky. What remains isn't the people themselves, it's the love you gave while they were here. That love doesn't age, it doesn't break, it doesn't get boxed up and sold when everything else does. When you're young, you spend a lot of time waiting for the big moments, the promotion that will finally make you proud, the wedding that will make life feel official, the trip that will make you feel alive again. You tell yourself, once I get there, I'll slow down, I'll enjoy it then. But life isn't made of mountaintops. It's made of the walk between them. I wish someone had shaken me earlier and told me that success doesn't live in the highlight reel. It lives in the ordinary. Tuesday afternoons we rush through without noticing. If I could go back, I wouldn't ask for more achievements. I would ask for more attention. I would stay longer at the table after dinner. I would listen instead of planning my response. I would notice the sound of the morning birds instead of checking the time. At the end of a long life, what remains isn't a list of victories. It's a quiet collection of small moments that didn't seem important when they were happening. Moments I once called nothing, that turned out to be everything. One of the hardest lessons of old age is solitude. My generation was taught to stay busy, to keep moving, to fill every silence with work, responsibility, noise. And for a long time, that worked until it didn't. When the house emptied and the calendar cleared, I found myself alone with someone I barely knew myself. Most people spend their lives avoiding that meeting. They drown it out with activity and company. But eventually, time corners you. At 80, running is no longer an option. Your body won't cooperate. So you sit, and in that stillness, you either find peace or panic. I learned that if you haven't built a relationship with yourself, old age can feel like a prison. But if you have, even imperfectly, it becomes a refuge. I've had to forgive the man I was at 30 and 50. I've had to accept that I did the best I could with what I knew at the time. What remains is a quiet understanding that I am enough, that I always was. I just didn't know how to be alone long enough to hear it. People ask me if I have regrets. Of course I do. Anyone who says otherwise is lying to themselves. But time teaches you to separate regret from remorse. And there is a difference that matters more than you think. I regret chances I didn't take, words I rehearsed but never said, paths I didn't choose because I was afraid of looking foolish. But what hurts the most now are the moments I wasn't kind, the arguments I needed to win, the pride I protected at the expense of connection. As the list of names in my life grows shorter, one truth has become painfully clear. Being right is a very lonely achievement. What remains is the realization that kindness was always the better choice, even when I thought it made me weak. If you have someone you care about, someone you've been meaning to call but haven't because of an old disagreement or wounded pride, don't wait. Time is not as patient as you think. As the years passed, I noticed something else happening, something I didn't expect. The world didn't just keep moving, it started moving without me. New music I didn't recognize, new words I had to ask about, new ways of doing things that made my habits feel old-fashioned, even unnecessary. At first, that realization stung. I won't pretend it didn't. There's a particular kind of sadness that comes with realizing you are no longer the center of anything. You stop being consulted. Your opinions are politely acknowledged and quietly set aside. You go from being needed to being optional. I carried bitterness for a while. I told myself the world had lost its way, that things were better when we did them my way. But one afternoon, watching my grandson struggle to explain a joke that made perfect sense to him and none at all to me, it finally landed. The world isn't leaving me behind. It's replacing me. And that's not a failure. That's the design. What remains when you finally accept that is a strange kind of freedom. You are released from the burden of relevance. You no longer have to prove you matter. You get to watch instead of perform. And watching, I've learned, is a privilege. I see my father in the way my grandson furrows his brow when he's concentrating. I hear my mother's voice in the way my daughter comforts her own child. I realize now that I was never meant to be the whole story. I was always just one chapter, One stitch in a tapestry so large I couldn't see it while I was busy trying to control it. There is peace in stepping aside without resentment, in cheering instead of leading, in knowing that something of you, your patience, your humor, your mistakes, has already been passed along quietly, without ceremony. Another truth that only age teaches is this: importance is overrated. For most of my life, I chased it. I wanted to matter, to be remembered, to leave something undeniable behind. But at 80, I've learned that meaning doesn't come from being important. It comes from being present. The moments that still visit me in the quiet aren't the ones where I was admired. They're the ones where I was simply there, sitting at the edge of a bed during a fever, standing silently beside someone who didn't need advice, holding a hand when words would have ruined the moment. Those moments didn't feel significant at the time, but they are what remain. When people talk about aging, they talk about loss. And yes, there is loss. Your body betrays you in small, humiliating ways. Your memory plays tricks on you. Faces blur together. Names disappear. But there is also gain, though no one seems interested in that part. You gain perspective. You gain patience. You gain the ability to let things pass without grabbing them. You stop trying to win every argument because you finally understand how little most arguments mean. You also gain gratitude. Not the polite kind you say out loud, but the fierce, quiet kind that settles in your chest when you realize how unlikely your life was to exist at all. That you were born, that you loved, that you were loved back even briefly, that you woke up thousands of mornings without knowing they were numbered. I counted once, out of curiosity, around 29,200 sunrises. That's how many mornings I've been given. Not all of them good, some painful, some lonely, but every single one impossible without the others. I'm not afraid of the dark anymore. Not because I think I've figured everything out, but because I've learned that endings are not as final as they feel. The light doesn't disappear, it just moves into memories, into other people, into moments you'll never see, but somehow helped shape. If you're listening to this and you're younger than me, don't wait. Don't wait to soften. Don't wait to forgive. Don't wait to notice the ordinary parts of your life. They are not filler. They are the story. Call the person you're thinking about right now. Say the thing that feels awkward but true. Sit with yourself without distraction once in a while. Learn who you are before time forces the introduction. And if you're closer to my age, know this: it's not too late. It's never too late to choose kindness, to let go of old bitterness, to make peace with the person you've been becoming all along. Thank you for sitting with me for a few more minutes. It means more than you know. If these words stayed with you, pass them on to someone you care about. And if you'd like to keep me company, again, you're welcome to stay. Before you go, leave me a comment. Tell me one thing you've learned to appreciate as you've grown older. I read every single one. It makes the quiet feel a little less empty.